Hello everybody, welcome to the video, and let's get right into it. New series, same shit, different twist. It's gonna be the Raw 3 count. That's right, I'm only gonna bring up 3 fucking points to rant about in this Monday Night Raw, whether it's things I liked, or things I hated, or things that got pops, or things that didn't. Well, first thing I gotta talk about is probably one of the most over wrestlers in the fucking world right now, and definitely was the most over wrestler in NXT, is BALEY made her debut. That was the biggest ovation and the biggest pop of the night by fucking far. The people knew it was coming. Everyone knew it was coming since last night, since she lost her match in NXT on Saturday. Everyone knew it was coming, and everyone still fucking popped, and they still geeked out. Isn't that pretty amazing? It's almost like when Darren Young came out to save Bob Backlund from Titus O'Neil. You know how he didn't get a pop? It was the exact opposite of that. How fucking awesome is that? Yes, everyone loves fucking BALEY, man. She's so fucking likable. Hugs to you, BALEY. Hopefully nobody fucking gets injured anymore in the women's roster on Raw, because Raw doesn't have a lot of women going in the women's division. I mean, that's where the title is, right? But most of the women workers are all on Smackdown, because most of them are young and NXT people, and they're up and coming, and they're working with Natalya and Becky Lynch to really try and get themselves over. And as they get established, I'm sure they'll move over to Raw eventually, or something maybe much further down the road. But right now, the women's division on Raw is fucking dead, and at least BALEY keeps it alive, because since Sasha is injured, BALEY, Dana, and Charlotte are pretty much 100% of the women's roster on Raw. So Adam Blampier from What Culture was like, "Oh, SmackDown really needs BALEY." Are you fucking stupid? You're at the event right now, you stupid fucking limey, and you're fucking looking at 100% of the roster, which consists of 3 people standing in the ring in front of you, while just on the freaking pay-per-view there was a 6-person tag match with, that's how much women they have on SmackDown, where they need to create stupid, pointless, clusterfuck matches just to get them all TV time. And here you are staring at 2 heels and a face, and that's all they have. That's literally all they have. So, Adam Blampier from What Culture, you're a dumb fuck. I'm calling you out on that one, because you've been a fucking moron all night. Because I honestly do think you're a fucking moron with your whole, "Oh, how I could have booked shit." Yeah, you try to be a booker, okay? Like, Finn Balor getting injured. Yeah, did you see that one coming, Mr. Fancy Booker? Like I said, there's more to becoming a fucking booker than just you and your little fantasy, "I want to be creative" world, okay? But God, I love your sexy posh voice. I'm not gonna lie. All right, 2 count. Obviously, the whole Finn Balor being injured. I mean, if you think about it, he's officially the longest reigning Universal Champion of less than 24 hours, and yet he has to be stripped of the title because he's so severely injured that it's going to be 6 months before he comes back. So obviously you can expect a WrestleMania moment right there, because, I mean, that lines up with, the next WrestleMania, if he comes back in time and everything goes according to plan. But we just got done watching a mini tournament to see who was going to win the Universal title, and now we're already doing another stupid series of matches, and then we're going to have a fatal 4-way. Okay, I understand that they didn't have a lot of time to plan this, because, like I said, you can't plan when injuries happen. You just can't, wrenches get thrown in the works all the time, especially when you're a writer or being a creative personality for wrestling. It's really fucking hard to make super long-term plans and try and stick to them and try and invest marketing in them, when one, society and pop culture just moves so much faster than it did like 10, 20, 30 years ago. But at the same time, things like injuries happen, not just to mention like contract dates and this and that, or, they might get a wellness policy violation or something, shit like this happens. So Finn Balor being injured, I really understand that it's putting a lot of creative pressure on WWE when there really isn't a whole lot of creativity there to begin with. So I know what you're thinking. Well, Ben, if you're not going to, offer better ideas, then just criticize them. I mean, what do you expect? First of all, I think we don't need another champion as soon as next week. I really do not think that. The next pay-per-view can crown the next champion. I mean, really, if you really want to make the title that prestigious. 2, this whole, quick tournament thing, you wrestle, and then whatever. It's basically kind of like the reverse of the last tournament they had to make the Universal Championship match, where they had the four-ways and they single down into singles. Now it's singles going into four-way matches, and it's like, this is fucking stupid. If they really want to make it interesting, at least each match have a different variation or something like that. You know, one group of wrestlers can have a 20-minute Iron Man match, you know, because it's, well, actually, Raw's 3 hours, right? You know, fucking make it a half hour. Make a 45-minute Iron Man match. Things like that. The next match could be a steel cage match. The next match could be a whatever stipulation match, a Texas death match, a bull rope match. I don't know. There's so many different types of novelty matches that they don't really use them anymore. And I know maybe they're trying to get more into a reality-based wrestling thing, and those matches tend to be kind of boring in the PG era because you have a bunch of wrestlers that don't know how to wrestle those matches in PG style, when it's actually very doable, and it's, you know, you're very capable and you don't need to kill yourself or bust yourself open with tons of blood to make those matches work. There's always fresh ideas that they could be using in these bookings. I mean, just the whole, okay, the top 8 guys on the roster are going to duke it out. And it's like, if you really think about it, a lot of those guys don't even deserve to be there. Like Chris Jericho, yes, he's an all-time great wrestler, but why is he even remotely in the hunt or the quest for the Universal title? He's been in tag team action the last 4 weeks, and before that, he was not in the title hunt whatsoever, except him randomly getting thrown into these things. Yes, he's a good wrestler. Yes, he's a good worker, but it's like, come on. They could have a Royal Rumble. They could have a lottery. They could have a double elimination tournament. That'd be kind of cool, more than your just single elimination tournament. I mean, there's more ideas than just, you know, pairing 2 guys up against each other, and you already know who's going to win. I mean, let's face it, Sami Zayn was not going to beat Rollins. I mean, you would think that he would, and you would be happy if he did, but, you know, let's face it, if the guy's on the pre-show on the last pay-per-view that happened 24 hours before, he's not going to beat the guy that was in the main event for that title that night too. You know, that's just whatever. I mean, it makes for good TV. They always put Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins against each other on TV because it makes for a good wrestling match, and that's good. That's a really good thing. But yeah, I mean, there's so much they could do with this, possibilities, and it's almost like they need to write out these scenarios ahead of time, you know, these types of stipulation storylines and wrestling matches, and then if something does happen where you need to, you know, pull that card or pull that rabbit out of your hat from a writer standpoint, you know, pull this angle out of your hat, oh, hey, this, that, you know, bam, put it on TV, put the chess pieces, the workers in place, and put the wrestlers in place, and go to town. So yeah, I'm not really excited about the Universal title anymore, and I know a lot of people are giving backlash about what the belt looks like and how stupid it looks, and you know what? Mick Foley and Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, everyone said it. What the belt looks like doesn't fucking matter. So honestly, I don't want to fucking hear it. I mean, to be honest, the match last night was fucking ruined. Severely slanted and tainted, and what should have been considered, you know, one of the most historic matches in the modern decade of wrestling, and for, you know, another decade to come, you know, the first ever Universal Champion in this match at Brooklyn at SummerSlam, blah, 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 is, you know, you're going to go back and watch that match and hear the fucking crowd cheering about how stupid the belt looked? It's like, seriously? Yeah, I realize that WWE probably wasn't thinking that, hey, this belt looks just like the other one. You know, the world title, the women's title, they all look the same, and the U.S. title looks like that too. I mean, the outline and shape of the U.S. title looks just like that belt too. It's like, yeah, they all look the same. I get that. So it's like, you almost can't tell them apart. I get that, but is it really worth booing and whatever for that? No, it's not. I mean, way to fuck up a match, especially when a guy dislocated his shoulder and popped it back in and finished the match just so he could have a match, knowing that he was booked to win that match, and he probably knew during that match that even though he was going to win that night, and he was going to go over that night, and he was going to get the belt that night, that he knew he wasn't going to get a run with it. Just imagine that. And he still fucking gave one hell of a match. I mean, that's Finn Balor right there. And people are like, oh, the belt looks stupid. You're fucking stupid. You're as stupid as Adam Blampier. And finally, for the third count on the mat, the farewell of the Dudley Boys. Now, since this was announced earlier before the show, everyone's making the Mark Henry reference where he faked their retirement, and everyone's like, oh, the Dudleys are going to come out in pink and salmon jacket suits and whatnot. And, well, when I watched it, it seemed legit. It seemed a lot more legit than the scripted Mark Henry bullshit, because the Mark Henry thing, like, you could sort of see maybe was coming. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the Dudleys, I mean, they have no one to wrestle. Their pre-show pay-per-view at best. I mean, they're jobbers. I can understand, like, they probably signed a 1-year deal. It's been a year since they've been here. So I can understand them, like, actually leaving the WWE and retiring from wrestling, or maybe just leaving the WWE because, you know, they didn't like how they're creatively used, and maybe they don't want to be old jobbers and things like that. But I'm actually, after the show right now, I'm still wondering, because Epico and Primo came out, and the Bullet Club came out, and they put the Dudleys out, you know, out of commission. And it's like, well, is that it? Is that how they're going out? And a lot of people are like, oh, they shouldn't have to go out like that. Well, if you're a true old school wrestling fan, you go out on your back. I mean, if you're an old school worker, the rule is you go out on your back. Andre lost to Hulk Hogan, and oh, wait, there's been no other fucking example of that in wrestling fucking history. So, yeah, if this was the way the Dudleys went out, I mean, it's like, it wasn't necessary. It's not like, oh, you injured them so badly that they can't come back to compete, because they had already announced their retirement. So, I don't know if it's a work or not. I really don't. And there's a lot of speculation lately on the internet about what's a work and what's not. A lot of people are debating if the Randy Orton match and the head wound from SummerSlam is a work. A lot of people are even debating if Sami Zayn actually broke his ankle on Raw because Seth Rollins injures people, blah, 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 you know. So it's hard to tell if this is a work or not. The way they did it and the way they did the segment, the way that the Dudley Boys were never relevant until tonight, kind of tells me that either they were trying to make them turn face, which if they did that, they did an epic job of it, but at the same time, it's not going to sit well with people if that's what they use to turn them face, and then it's like, oh, wait, you guys are still here. You didn't actually retire, you know? If this is the way they went out, that's the way they went out, and if that's that, that's that. I mean, the Dudley Boys, you know, I mean, let's face it, they're reaching the end of their career, and you can't say that they had a short career because they've been doing it for 25 years, 30 years. I forget what Devon even said or what Bubba Ray even said, but yeah, they've been doing this on television at a primetime level for a very long time. I mean, if that's the way it goes out, that's the way it goes out. So, I mean, that was a big segment of the show. I mean, it was the semi-main event was them saying goodbye, and it was in Brooklyn, which is kind of like their hometown. That is sort of ECW territory. So, if that's that, that's that. But that's all I'm going to make for the points on Raw, and tomorrow night I'm going to make 3 more points on SmackDown, and we're going to go from there. Like, favorite, subscribe, share on Twitter. I don't care. You can follow me at Twitter, Benjamin8213, and give yourselves a hug.